This is the Authority Company Podcast, conversations with leaders who are designing the future. Hola, I am Joe Pardavila, and my guest today is Glenn Bostock. Glenn is the founder and CEO of SnapCab and the author of the new book, A Human Business, the People-First Model for Lasting Success. Glenn built a multi-million-dollar company and transformed the elevator industry with a system that cut installation time from 4 days to 1. In this chat, Glenn shares how his early struggles shaped a people-first approach to leadership and why he believes business exists to serve people, not the other way around. Glenn, welcome to the show. How are you?
Great. Having a great day.
It's glad to hear, and I'm having a great day too. And I want to start by, and I know that I'm probably going to start with a too hard of a question, but I have to do it because the name of the book is A Human Business.
Right.
And Glenn, we're currently in a world where nobody wants to have humans working for them.
I know.
We're all talking about AI and how can we reduce the workforce, and you're seeing people use the excuse of AI to lay people off.
Right.
So tell me about what it's like to publish this book. And I know this is not something that came overnight to you. This is something you've been
No.
working on through your career for decades, but you're releasing a book about humans in a world of AI. Tell me what that's like.
That's right. Okay, the catalyst of the book was I wrote it really for my employees because I'm getting around retirement age. I wanted to pass the company on to my employees in some form. And over a career, I've been in business for 43 years now. I figured out what not to do. And I've built this. I thought, I never expected to be successful. And I thought, I'm going to try to do this business differently. Most people go out of business. Why did I just, I could have gone out of business. I didn't. But I decided to do a very different way of running a business. And it's what we call a human business. And I was struggling in business, and I found a better way to build a team where we're all helping each other. Now, as the book is coming out, it's sort of like this perfect storm of AI is coming in here and human business. And I'm all about building a community of people that like to work together at work. And so I'm not against technology. This isn't a fight against technology,
Yeah.
but I am all for humans. Like, I think we're here for people. We're not here for profit as a tool. We're here to help other people. That's what we're here for.
Oh, that's great. I love it. You know what? I mean, this is the wrong question to ask you, but I often think about like when you hear about this revolution of replacing humans with AI,
Mhm.
I almost feel like asking folks like a hypothetical question. Would you want to have a successful company of 1,000 people and make X amount of money, or would you rather have a company that has no humans and make 2X the money? I wonder what bargain most people would take for that, Glenn. And you probably know where I'm getting here. Like most
Yeah,
people wouldn't
yeah,
mind having fewer people and making more money.
yeah, that's right. I I there's a lot of definitions of success. So I would say a clear definition of success I've heard lately with AI coming along. One definition is if AI did really well, maybe we could all have a choice to work or not. Things maybe there'll be such abundance that it's optional if we're going to work.
Yeah.
That's one definition of success. Another definition of success for a business owner is not to have any employees and 2xing your profit. So my definition of success would be to be able to build a community of people that I love being around, and my efforts help them inc- improve their life, and what they were doing made it so I could improve my life. As you know, Joe, when we got on, you saw Jen Eman, who was helping me get my tech all together. If I was left to my own devices, I could not go very far. I'm I am skilled in little areas, uh, but uh, but the joy of being able to I'm in a situation where I get to leverage what I love to do at work. So my purpose in life is amplified at work because the stuff I stink at, I have these people that are helping me.
Right.
And my intention is to have all the employees is to the as large a degree have the same thing. I'd like all the employees to find their life purpose at work, and we're helping each other, building a community of friends. So we hire for that trait in people that wanna see other people be successful.
I love that. I think the world needs a few more Glenn Bostocks. But you mentioned the word skills, and one of those skills is you were a master cabinet maker before you went
Mhm.
on this journey of building this incredible company. And I've always been jealous of folks like you. My dad was a machinist, worked with his hands, but luckily he raised two dumb kids who didn't know how to work with their hands, so they got white collar jobs. But I've always appreciated like the blue collar world and the people that are skilled and the tradesmen. Um,
Right.
but how does that translate? Because I often see, I'm a homeowner now, and I see that there are people that were tradesmen and then they start their own company and they struggle with that transition of like my subject matter expertise, as we like to talk about in the world of business, something that is always translate into running a business.
Right.
What translated for you? Like master cabinet maker, which by the way, the
Right.
coolest title ever, to becoming a successful business owner, CEO, and a business founder.
Right. Well, I would say that I love doing the woodwork. In fact, now I've got an amazing home shop, I just love doing work in my shop. I lose track of time. I love it. Is it the most useful thing I can do with my time? No. I mean, it's healthy for me because I'm getting some exercise, I'm using my brain, uh, but I think doing work, well, first of all, lucky for me, I was kinda unencumbered by a lot of education. Uh, so
Ditto.
I didn't go to school and have people say, "This is the way you run a business. Do X, Y, and Z, and you're all done." It's like, um, I had to figure it out on my own. I was a cabinet maker, struggling to make enough money to I made beautiful things, hard to make money at it, making one of a kind things. Ended up getting into the elevator business. I developed a system for remodeling elevators, and you can actually see it behind me. These are the wall panels. That's one of the types of wall panels we made. Uh, that system, we applied for a patent. Otis Elevator saw it. They gave me a national contract. I had about 6 employees, and we went from under $1 million of revenue to now I do about $30 million of revenue a year, and we're doing, I've got 140 employees spread across 2 different factories in US and Canada, and now we've expanded our elevator interior product into making office pods.
And so tell me about Human First and what it looks like on a average Tuesday. Like, obviously the book explains it more in detail, but like if someone were to walk into one of your offices or someone that sort of follows your framework, what does an average human business look like?
So I should tell you what our values are here. So our values are be kind, be authentic, and be useful. So being kind means creating an environment where people can bring up what's going wrong because you can't fix anything if you don't know what the problem is. So if I worked at that place, I'd be hiding every problem I had because I wouldn't want to get yelled at, right?
Right.
Well, we want to hear about the problems because we then have we give people an hour a day. If you came at noon, people get an hour just before lunchtime to improve our processes. So we have a 10-hour manufacturing day. 1 hour of that is spent improving our processes. So we track what goes wrong. We figure out a solution. If the thing keeps reoccurring, we'll come up with a solution to fix it. Then we'll give the workers time and materials to put the fix in. So every day that we're having problems, we're also improving the company. So if you do this for years, it's unbelievable the kind of company you can wind up with.
Awesome. And the book revolves around your framework of five principles. And so let's start with caring. What does creating a foundation of caring look like?
So our values and our principles that they kind of overlap. They both
Yeah.
start with caring. Uh, when I was in school as a kid, I had learning disabilities, and when I was out being tutored, I was happy. When I was in my classroom, they noticed that I was the dumb kid in class, and I got bullied to some degree. And it was so stressful, I would get hives on my hands. And, you cannot function. I realized as an adult, I thought I was just dumb. It's not being dumb. It's being put in a situation where you're not supported by your peers makes it impossible to show up being yourself and doing your best work. So I realized I didn't want to create an environment where people can't do their best work. So there's a very practical reason why you want us to have a caring environment. Then we hire people for what they love. So instead of interviewing people for the experience they had and the skill sets they have, we ask them what they love to do. We're looking for people that have a love of building a community, and they're interested in not competing with their coworkers, but seeing them be successful. That comes first. And then second, well, do you have a love of numbers if you're doing accounting? Do you have a love of working with your hands if you're in the factory? Do you have a love of design if you're in engineering? And most of those things we can teach. And we found that, yeah, it may be that we don't get the most experienced people and we don't get the most skilled people, but we find that overall the workforce, since they're collaborating, really excel as a group. And if people have a desire to do something, to do design, do manufacturing, they're going to do far better about it if they're feeling like, "Hey, this is something I love. I can see I'm getting to take what I love to do because they hired me for what I love to do, and they're putting it together." Chapter 5 is focus on being useful. Chapter 1 is create a caring environment. Chapter 2 is understand your ruling love. Chapter 3 is put what you love to do with what we need done at work that's useful, benefiting the customer and benefiting each other. Chapter 4, which is my favorite, is embrace problems with weakness. Now, I'm dyslexic. I have an assistant that does my calendar, does my email. Joe, if you want to email me, just so you know, uh, that's not the best way to communicate with me. And if you do, my assistant will be getting the email.
Right.
So she'll let me know it gets filtered by somebody else. Um, as I said, somebody else helped me get set up here. I'm helping them with product design. I'm great at product design. I love building company culture. I love building operational systems. So we're helping each other be successful. So if you embrace problems and weakness, then we're going to help each other with those things. The last one, chapter 5, is and this is the unique one, model your business after the human form. So as you can see, I've got my leadership team here is in my head. I got hands. My hands are moving because my leadership team is using my management team, which is my nervous system, to send a message to my hands back to my head. You can imagine if you had a stone in your shoe, how far would you walk before you took the stone out of your shoe? Right?
Not very far.
Not
Yeah.
very far. But how many businesses do you suppose go around with stones in their shoes and they don't even know it at the top?
Many.
Right. So what people would describe as a business where we're competing at work and we're, um, an org chart where it's mostly top down, I think we've all heard people saying, well, it's kind of like a benevolent dictatorship. We live in a free country, but you get to work for one dictatorship or that dictatorship.
Right.
And at a human business, we're saying the information goes down and it comes back up. We're not saying there isn't a head. We're just saying the head wants to know that you got a stone in your shoe. If you put your hand on a stove, we want to get the hand off the stove, right? It's a picture of orchestration between people and people getting to shine at what they really love doing.
And tell me about outcomes because, obviously the company's incredibly successful, been around for decades. Tell me about the outcomes of the humans of your company since you had this sort of personal development pivot, since you built up the culture of work, since you put in these processes that you talked about into place. Like, how many people have you had to fire or let go once you started this path? And it could be anecdotal,
Yep,
but I'd
yep.
love to
No, oh,
think about, because
no.
this idea is like, because the way you it's almost like this this fairyland, it's an imaginary world of happiness
Oh,
and
yeah.
joy. Like, so how does it work? Like, do people get fired there? Like, what
Yeah.
happens?
Yes. Yeah. People get fired. I would say it's maybe not the easiest place to it's not the it's not the easiest place because our requirement is that you're making it a nice place for your coworker
It's a
to work.
two-way street. Yeah.
It's a two-way street. And so it's rare that we let somebody go because they're not able to achieve their job. I would say that's very rare. What's more likely to happen, and I've let go some of my top performers, and sometimes top performers are the worst ones, especially when we started it, because they came in under old rules of like, "Hey, I'm the top dog here. I can work circles around you guys." You know, they're never gonna let me go because I'm the top performer.
Right.
You guys don't know what you're doing, but I'm the expert. And, those guys or people are if they're making it unhappy for their coworkers to come to work, then that's really intolerable. So we have a process now of we coach on it, and then we'll bring them into a performance improvement plan, which means maybe we didn't do our job as the management team, and we'll teach them. We'll have them read the book, A Human Business. We'll have them read a number of books that may be related to the problem. We'll meet with them weekly for 3 months. That gives them time to either go like, "Oh, man, this is really not." You mean I'm the top performer and I'm getting improvement?
Right. This is not for me. Yeah.
They'll either leave or they'll realize, and this happens all the time, they'll realize, "Oh, I totally misunderstood how things operated here." And I think an outcome of this is the people that are here, there's a high level of trust with everybody here. And even people that are let go, they'll complain about me because maybe I let them go, but they'll say, "My coworkers were wonderful." I'll say consistently, people say, "I love the people I worked with." I've never actually had people say, "Oh, those people are terrible there." If they didn't get what they want, they might say some unkind things about the leadership, but but, so that's so we protect the culture of making it kind here.
So the faults, I mean, it reminds me of like the Simon Sinek line, if a husband and wife, one of them complains about someone forgetting to put the toothpaste cap back on the toothpaste. The argument is not about the toothpaste. And like you're saying, the people that are having an issue with working it's not because of a singular issue.
No, that's right.
It's a bigger picture.
That's right.
All right. So if folks buy the book and they want to implement your framework, your methodologies in it, but it feels like it's slow or hard for them at first.
Mhm.
What do you tell them as they begin this journey? Because like anything, if it was easy, everyone would do it.
Right,
Or a friend told me it was like, if brain surgery was so easy, they have a booth in Sears.
right.
So tell me about this idea of like doing this, but living through that tough time.
Okay, yeah, so the chances are you are already in business. You already have this culture. Now you're gonna try and move to this human business culture. What we did, the very first thing we did was, first of all, you have on a leadership team, you have to get all your leaders on the same page of like, this is we're gonna follow these principles. We're gonna stop punishing people. We're gonna stop using, you know, I don't mind joking around a bit, but you don't wanna have sarcastic humor that's demeaning people.
Sure.
So you have to get the mindset in the leadership team first, and then I gave the leaders gift cards that they put in their back pocket, and you've heard of catching people doing things right. We asked them just to catch people doing things wrong, and so somebody would, like, drop a cabinet or something, drop a panel and ship it, and then they go, "Oh, here," give them a gift card. So now you're just starting to change the idea like, "Oh, I screwed up and I get to take my family out for dinner." And then we'd include the person in like, "Well, what was the root cause of dropping the panel? Do you need gloves? Is the bench not big enough?" And then we'd include them in fixing the problem. then they're out for dinner with their family, and he's explaining like, yeah, I highlighted that there's a problem with our system and that now we got to fix it and that I got rewarded really for highlighting that there is a problem. And um, that was the first thing we did. And then we started this thing called a Gambo board, which is just a board where you're tracking um, Post-it notes of what's going wrong every department. So we kind of formalized doing that.
Nice. Cool. All right. So I was wrapping up these conversations, taking folks behind the dedication of the book. You dedicated to Peter Rose for being the person who made me wake up my human condition. Why was it important to him to shout him out at the beginning of the book?
Well, because if people wanted a clue of what to do next, like if I wanted to have a human business, it's pretty hard. I found it very difficult to understand that I had that I had ego and that I could be selfish. And Peter Rhodes gave me the gift of being able to almost stand outside of myself and look back at back at myself like I'm watching a play or a movie about my own life going, well, that that guy could be doing better. I think he's just looking out for himself. He wants to look good. He wants to get what he wants. He's not looking out for his coworkers. And as soon as I started working out for my coworkers, I got friends. I got everything that I wanted. They got what they wanted. And I know when I'm disconnected from one of my coworkers from having a problem, like you can walk into a room and feel it across the room. It's almost like, it's like, oh man, I'm not going over there, you know. But with this, it might give you a tool like, well, maybe I should go over there and invite them out for coffee and either find out, is this fixable? Were we authentic with all of our problems and weakness? Another thing that Peter modeled for me was he's a guy that's been doing a practice like this for years. And almost every time I talked to him, he had a example from today or that week of things that he screwed up. And I realized, the more this guy tells me what a screw up he is, the more I admire him. And I realized saying that you have a weakness or that you have a problem with something doesn't make people think, in my head, I'm like, oh, they're going to think I'm an idiot if they find out that I can't find my car when I leave it in a parking lot.
Sure.
But so I put a air tag in my car so I can find it now. I've got a satchel and I go out to lunch with people and I put a little cable that I clip onto my pants because because I'm an airhead. I'm going to walk away and leave it. And people laugh at me, but then they're like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense, because I'm mistake proofing around a weakness I have. People admire you more when you can be open with a weakness. They can usually see all your weaknesses anyway. It's just now that you're being open with it, now we can talk about it. And then it invites them in to collaborate with you.
Awesome. You can read all about it in A Human Business, the People First Model for Lasting Success. He is Glenn Bostock. Glenn, thanks so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Joe.
And that's going to do it for this episode. If you want to find out more information about Glenn and our other amazing authors, go to theauthoritycompany.com.